Look, I wanna be real with you. 2026 has been absolutely unhinged for RPG fans. Like we get a Dragon Quest remake that made me cry actual tears, and Nioh 3 made me question my reflexes, and somehow, some way, Elden Ring is on the Switch 2 now. The Switch 2. So if you're sitting there staring at your backlog wondering what's actually worth your time right now, I got you. These are the best RPGs to play in 2026. All platforms, no filler. Let's start with one that dropped in January, and honestly, slippers don't get slippier than this. Code Vein 2. The first Code Vein was basically what if Dark Souls but anime, and also you're a vampire. And look, it was good. It was solid, but Code Vein 2, the actual cook here.
Yeah, boy.
Combat is faster, the class system is way more flexible, and the story. Okay, well, this story is still absolute melodramatic anime nonsense, and I love everything about it. You play as a revenant trying to survive in this post-apocalyptic world, and the companion AI doesn't suck anymore. That alone is worth a piece of admission at least. If you like Souls-likes, but also want your character to have really good hair and dramatic mid-fight cutscenes where someone screams a friend's name, this is your game. Okay, this one's for the I want a world so big it makes an other open world game look like a parking lot crowd. Xenoblade Chronicles X got the definitive edition treatment on Switch 2 in February, and it is glorious. You crash land on an alien planet called Mira, or Myra. You got a giant transforming mech. You can fly anywhere, like anywhere. The map is genuinely one of the greatest open worlds ever designed, and now it runs at 60 frames per second with draw distance that doesn't make you squint anymore. I'm not gonna pretend the story is the same tight masterpiece. It's a Xenoblade game, so it gets weird. But the exploration, the combat, the feeling of jumping into your scale and just flying across on an alien continent while the music swells, it's unmatched. Number 8 is The Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon. I know, the Trails series is like 17 games and you're scared to jump in. Honestly, I get it. But Trails Beyond the Horizon, which dropped in January, is actually one of the best entry points we've ever gotten so far. It's a fresh arc, new characters, new region, new political drama to get way too invested in. You don't need to have played the other 15 games. And as someone who has played the other 15 games, that's a gift. The turn-based combat has this really satisfying position system where moving your characters actually matters this time. And the world building is, I'm not exaggerating, the best in the genre. Every NPC has a name, schedule, a little story that updates after every major event. It's ridiculous, it's unnecessary, and I love it. Number 7 is Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars came out a couple of years ago, but 2026 is the year it finally hit every platform. Mobile, Switch 2, upgrades, the works. And if you missed it the first time around, now is the absolute time. This is a love letter to Chrono Trigger and Super Mario RPG, turn-based combat where you can actually time your hits for bonus damage, a gorgeous pixel art world, a story about a childhood friend who grew up to become solid T warriors and have to save the world from an ancient alchemist. It sounds simple and it starts simple, but then it goes places. Also, the music is by Yasunori Mitsuda, the Chrono Trigger and Xenoblade composer. Yeah, they didn't have to go that hard, but they actually did. And number 6 is Crimson Desert. This game has been developing for so long, I was starting to think it was a collective hallucination. But Crimson Desert actually launched in March, and okay, it's rough around the edges, I'm not gonna lie to you. But when it hits, it hits. You play as Macduff, a mercenary fighting through a medieval fantasy world that wants you dead in about 40 different ways. The combat is a wild mix of Dragon's dogmas, climbing mechanics, Souls-like, bait, and just enough jank reminded that Pearl Abyss made Black Desert. The world is absurdly beautiful, the horse combat is actually very good, which rarely happens. And there's this one dragon fight about 15 hours in that I genuinely think belongs in the conversation for the best boss fights of the year, man. And number 5 we have Nioh 3. I need you to understand something. Nioh 3 came out in February and is the most we heard you like combat systems, so with the combat system in your combat system game I've ever played. And I mean that as the highest possible compliment. You've got 3 instances per weapon. You've got burst counters, you've got Yokoi abilities, you've got guardian spirits, you've got the new shifting transformations that let you basically become a boss monster mid-fight. It's too much. It's absolutely too much, chaotic, and I just can't stop playing it. Set in a supernatural version of the Sengoku period again, but this time the Yokoi thread is just completely out of control. The difficulty is, well, look, it's a Team Ninja game. You're gonna die so many times. But when the combat clicks, there's nothing like it. And number 4 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Rebirth was already one of the best RPGs of the decade when it dropped in 2024, but in June 2026 it finally hit Xbox and Switch 2, which means basically everyone can play it now, and if you haven't already, fix that. I'm not going to recap the whole thing. It's the second part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. You leave Midgard, the world opens up and it's just joy. Pure unfiltered joy. The Go Saucer, Costa del Sol, the Gongaga region, which somehow became the best zone in the game. Queen's Blood, the card game so good I forgot to do the main story for like a couple of hours. And the ending, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but if you know the original Final Fantasy VII, you know what's coming. And they somehow made it even hit harder. Number 3, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. I said this in the intro and I'll say it again. This game made me cry. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined dropped in February and Square Enix did not have to go this hard on a remake of a PlayStation 1 game. It's a full HD 2D rebuild, same style as the Octopath and Live A Live remakes. The story follows you and your friends discovering that your world used to be way bigger, and travel back in time to restore lost continents one by one. Each island is basically its own short story, and some of them are devastating. The job system is deep, the monster recruiting is back, and the pacing, which was the original's biggest problem, is completely fixed. It's a 10-hour RPG that doesn't feel like 10 hours at all. That's the biggest praise I can give. Number 2 is Baldur's Gate 3. You know if it's gonna be here. Baldur's Gate 3 is 2 years old and it is the gold standard. If you've been putting it off because I don't like turn-based combat or D&D isn't my thing, I was you. And then I played it and my life changed. Like genuinely, it's my favorite game now. The sheer freedom in this game is broken. You can talk real boss fights. You can shove a goblin off a cliff in conversation. You can romance a vampire, a wizard, and a druid. Or technically a bear. Not at the same time though, trust me, I tried, it went very badly. And the new content they've added since launch, the epilogue, the mod support, the new subclasses, it's basically the gift that keeps on giving. Baldur's Gate 3 is the kind of game that people will still be talking about in 2036. And number 1 is Elden Ring, the Tarnished edition. Come on, you knew. Elden Ring already ate 200 hours of my life when it launched in 2022. And now the Tarnished edition drops on Switch 2 in August with all the DLC, performance upgrades and some quality of life tweaks that generally makes the game better. Shadow of the Aether is also included, which is basically Elden Ring 2 that they sold us as DLC because they're merciful. New weapons, new bosses, new regions that are somehow even more beautiful and more horrifying than the base game. Like Elden Ring just gets better and better, and it might not just be the best RPG to play in 2026. It just might be the best game ever, like period.
Showtime.
Look, 2026 is stacked. You literally cannot play everything, so start here. Start with what actually matters, and if I miss your favorite, especially I don't think I did, I'll drop in the comments anyway. I will read every single one. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'm gonna go touch grass now. See you in the next one.